Howdy, howdy. Welcome to the Humans Aren't Real podcast. Today's topic is our favorite top 10 live action TV shows. I'm Wolf, and this is Fry, starting us off with our number 10. Fry, take it away.
Oh, I'm gonna do number 10. All right. Uh, Number 10. I like this show, but I did this more for my wife because she's the one
Okay.
that got me watching it. Is Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Fantastic show.
I hate to admit it because I wanted to hate it when she made me watch it, but the more I watched it, the more I actually liked it.
It was a good show. Angel was okay, but Buffy was definitely a good show.
I couldn't get into Angel. Like she
Yeah,
watched that. It
it
was
was
hard.
different.
Yeah. I will say that was the one thing I didn't really like about Buffy was the whole Angel Buffy thing, but like it did turn out it kind of worked out in the long run. Like they made it like kind of makes sense and they kind of wrapped it up into the story a little bit more, but
Yeah.
I'm not into the whole I hate romance and the romance movies and all that. Like it's so unrealistic to me. Like and then a lot of women get the unrealistic thing like, oh well, I saw this on a TV show or on a movie, and I'm like, yeah, but that's not real life. Like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you're watching stuff where people are dating millionaires, and it's like, well, they flew to Cancun just on a whim. It's like, well, yeah, because the guy's loaded. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have to worry about that problem.
I mean, I'm not saying I do, but you see it out there. You see it,
Yeah.
and it's just like, come on, unrealistic expectations, man. You guys are just setting that bar, setting that bar way too high sometimes.
Yeah. Well, Buffy and Angel, the kind of like spin-off within a series thing, kind of reminds me of the Legend of Hercules with Xena being like the
Oh yeah,
spin-off.
I didn't mind Xena. Xena was all right.
Yeah, both series I liked
I don't know if I saw the Legend of Hercules, but
with
I believe.
Kevin Sorbo.
Oh, okay. I did not watch it, but now I do know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yes, it's a great series.
I mean, I never really liked that guy. I don't know why. Just like
Uh,
one of those
uh,
actors that, like, whenever I watched anything with him in it, just him
yeah.
being in it, like, it was like hard to watch. Like Russell Crowe. I don't like Russell Crowe. People are like, "Oh, I love this movie," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's got Russell Crowe. I'm not interested."
Oh, weird.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
can't really explain it.
My number 10 was a toss up between two of them, but one of them won out. So the one that lost was Boy Meets World. The one
Hmm,
that actually is my number 10 is Family Matters.
okay, definitely good.
I just love that like family dynamic, and then you got Steve Urkel coming over and just like wreaking havoc.
Yeah.
It
Funny
was
thing
a
is,
yeah.
there's like a what do they call them? Like the online, not conspiracies, but like where they kind of like tie things together. And
Uh-huh.
you notice the dad in that show. I wish I knew what his name was. I should know, but he plays a cop in like everything. He
Yeah.
was the cop in Die Hard. He was a cop in Ghostbusters. And there's like a theory. That's what it is. A theory. There's a theory online that I read that said it's all the same character. Like
Oh.
the cop from Die Hard is the same cop from Ghostbusters and is the same cop from Family Matters. And that's just like the continuation of his story. I thought that was pretty funny.
Well, his name is Carl.
Winslow.
Yeah, in
Yep.
Family Matters. I don't think that's what it is in Die Hard.
It doesn't matter. I mean, you're getting too specific.
Oh,
Let's just act
see,
like it
I
was.
thought this was like a legit thing, but I don't.
It
Details,
sounds good.
details.
It sounds good, okay?
Uh,
I want it to
okay.
be true.
Yeah, that would require some forethought.
I mean, you could make it work if you wanted to.
Yeah, yeah. All right, what is your number 9?
Okay, number 9, Silicon Valley.
Okay.
I'm sorry, have you seen that one?
Nope. You recommended it, but I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. Like it is, I think it went like 6 seasons, maybe 5.
Okay.
And I will say that like it seems like it gets to a point where they're always making mistakes, and that's kind of like, come on. Like you're kind of like, all right, really?
Yeah.
Like, have you guys not
They
learned yet? But
they get into the trope.
yeah, it's like there's constantly an issue, and it's always like you know they're going to get out of it, but it's like you kind of, I don't want to say it's kind of like the same old story, but in a way it kind of is. Like they have an idea, they do something, disaster strikes. They have an idea, they do something, disaster strikes. But
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it, the first few seasons are phenomenal, and I I don't know what happened with TJ Miller on that whole thing. I've heard a lot of different stories because he kind of got kicked off the show in a way of speaking. I think he said he quit, but you hear all kinds of stories. But
Right, right.
he was one of my favorite characters in it because he's just so off the wall, and kind of lost a little bit when he was gone, but ultimately they kind of wrapped it up. The last season is definitely one of those they saw it coming, or they decided to end it, because they ended it very well in my opinion. Like I really like what they did. I might have
Okay.
changed little things, but I did like what they ended up doing.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, that like the trope TV show that kind of turned me off was kind of like Arrow and what's the other one we like?
I heard a lot of people talk about Arrow, but I just never had interest.
It was interesting, but then they started just like repeating the trope. It's like uh there's a bad guy pops up, he argues with his team, he has to now then get beat up, then he has to work with his team, then he beats the bad guy.
Oh
And,
yeah, yeah.
and they did that for like a bunch of episodes, and then it's just like, okay, well, this is getting boring. You're just swap in unknown villain and then just rinse and repeat for the next 4 episodes.
Yeah, I mean, I understand it's hard to keep people engaged. You don't want to take the risk of doing something so different that people get turned off by it, and then all of a sudden you lose the fans you have. But yeah, come like just the same old story told with different characters in different ways. It does get a little old sometimes, and the Silicon Valley did definitely kind of do that in a way, but it's still a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah. Well, my number 9 is a newer TV show, Twisted Metal.
that
I
yeah.
enjoyed that like off the wall craziness so much. Was it Anthony Mackie? He
hmm
played uh what's his name? Was it Unknown or Nobody?
I don't even remember the character names at all,
Uh,
but I remember the show. I do remember it was a lot of fun. You think about the game Twisted Metal, and then they're
oh
like,
yeah.
"Oh, we're going to make a TV show," and you're like, "Well, how are you going to do that?" And
Yeah.
then what they did turned out to be pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I love Twisted Metal Black. That was such an awesome game.
I can't remember which one I played a lot. I know I played all of them, but there was one that I played the most, but I can't remember
Yeah.
which ones they were.
Yeah, Twisted Metal Black, me and my brother just played the snot out of it. I always played Preacher or Mr. Grimm.
So I always did the Sweet Tooth. That was the clown, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I was pretty much always that one. I cannot recall. There was the one guy that was just the two big wheels. I remember
Yeah,
using him
Axel.
occasionally. Okay. I remember using him a little bit, but for the most part, I think maybe it was like one of the first ones. Wasn't the black was like one of the later ones, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's like third or fourth in the series, something like that.
Oh, okay. I thought it was even later than that.
I want to say it was maybe fourth. It came after there was 1, 2, and 3, and then I think they did Black.
Because the first one was early or mid 90s.
Yeah, that was like PlayStation
Yeah.
1.
Yeah. It was definitely the early consoles I played. So maybe it was the first one or the second one that I played a lot.
Yeah, but I have high hopes season 2 will be fantastic. And then
So
he
they
gets
are
his
doing a season
car.
2.
I hope so. I really hope so.
Oh, you haven't
Then,
looked? I'll have to look and see.
yeah, I haven't looked. Um, Moving on. What is your number 8?
All right. So number 8 is one that I watched a lot as a kid.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's really going to ring a bell for a lot of people, but Sliders.
Lighters.
Oh, I thought maybe for sure you would know this one. It was
Uh,
Jerry O'Connell.
oh, yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
where he builds like something where he makes this portal and he like travels to different versions of Earth. It's like multiple dimensions, and then they get stuck. Basically, just they can't get back to their original dimension. So the show is just them going from dimension to dimension to dimension,
Yeah.
and crazy stuff happening. Like I loved that show as a kid because, like,
The multiverse.
yeah, like that was stuff. It's kind of a norm now with the Marvel movies and everything. But
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
back then, that's not something people was really talking about. I mean, we're talking had to
Well,
be
comic
early
books they
90s.
did a lot.
I didn't really read many comic books as a kid, believe it or not.
Yeah, and like the DC universe, they kept like different universes, and same with the Marvel universe, they would have different variations of characters.
Yeah, but comic books, like with the actual movies nowadays, I feel like a lot more people are exposed to that than the
Yeah,
amount of people that were exposed to it back then.
yeah, definitely they are nowadays.
Yeah.
All right, my number 8 is Stranger Things.
I didn't even think of that one. It's
I
a good show
really
though.
enjoyed that series. I'm waiting for the last season to drop.
It's supposed to end it, right?
Yep, supposed to be the last one. So at
What
the
is it?
time of this recording, we haven't seen. I think it's the 5th season or something like
I
that.
was going to say, yeah, season 5.
That kind of ends it, but we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I recall really one season I really didn't like. I don't know if it was 3 or 4.
Yeah,
But I like season 1 is just phenomenal. It's
yeah,
fantastic. It's especially if you're kind of like an 80s kid because it totally hits
yes, yeah,
nostalgia like crazy.
for sure. It's like beyond ridiculous Goonies that just
Hmm.
like takes twists and just like horror. It's a great show.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely like, and even visually, it was pretty cool. Like what they
Yes, yep.
did with what was it, the under
Upside Down.
upside down. That's what it was. Yeah, like the way they kind of portrayed that, I thought was really cool. I liked it
Yeah, it
visually.
kind of gave me Silent Hill vibes a little bit anytime they did the Upside Down.
I can see that. I wouldn't have thought that, but you saying it, it definitely clicks in my head. Like, yeah, I get that vibe too. I can see exactly what you're saying.
Oh yeah. So number 7, what do you got?
Number 7 for me is Fringe.
Fringe. Okay.
Never heard of it?
I've heard of it. I didn't watch it.
Okay, it's kind of it's kind of along the line of multiple dimensions type of thing. But really what it comes down to is just like imagine, and I'm sure there's other shows that I can't pick up right off the top of my head that did something similar before and after. But it's like
Yeah.
these paranormal type of events, more so like sci-fi type of stuff. And it's just like this like agency where they just investigate these things. And like kind of reminds me of a little bit of X-Files. Very, very much of an X-Files type of vibe to it. And
Okay.
the people in it were fantastic. But I will say I have not seen the last season. And that's mainly because when it did come out, I started watching it and it felt like I missed an entire season, but I didn't. Like it's almost like they made because season 5 was the last one. So it's almost like they made a season 5, didn't release it, and the season 5 they released was season 6.
Oh, okay.
So it's like there was this big gap of information in between the two that they don't really give you. And
Yeah.
I think they're slowly like like revealing it throughout season 5, but it was just so like I mean, it's like so much time had passed and so many things were different that I just couldn't even follow it anymore. And I was like, you know what? I can't do this anymore.
Understandable. But up until that point, you enjoyed it.
And yeah, up until that point, I loved it. I loved it. Who's the guy's name? His name is Josh something. He was like, the ladies loved him in like the 90s. And he's great in it. I can't remember his last name. I'll think of it later and be like, oh yeah, it's that, but I can't remember his name right now.
Okay. All right. Well, my number 7. So I originally had Firefly, but it got bumped off by Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I did not watch that one.
I enjoyed like the cameos in it. They did such a fantastic job. Like I think first season they were kind of floundering a little bit, but then they kind of like came into their own. And then they just like are dropping cameos. Like all of a sudden you have Ghost Rider pop up, or then Coulson isn't the main guy. He has to take a back seat. And Mac steps up. So it's just like the dynamics of having like a comic book movie but in TV show format was just so much fun.
Yeah. I don't know why I never, because I do believe me and my wife started watching it, if I'm not mistaken. I just
Mm-hmm.
never continued with it. I can't really give you a good reason why. I just didn't.
Oh, that's a shame. It's a good one.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'll go back to it, but I've kind of lost interest in the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe since Endgame.
Yeah.
So it just, the movies after that just haven't been the same. I really wanted to like the Doctor Strange, was it the
Multiverse.
multiverse? Yeah, Multiverse of Madness or whatever it was. And it's not bad. I mean, it's entertaining.
Oh, it's bad.
It's entertaining enough that I'll watch it occasionally, but
No, no, no. Why would you be an idiot? Smartest man in the universe, and by a mere whisper, he could destroy you. Oh, okay. Then I'm gonna take his mouth away.
I mean,
Stupid. Stupid.
that's just one thing. I mean, you can't focus on one thing.
Oh, that's true. You can't. There are so many things.
Nah, it visually it's pretty cool, and it had some redeeming factors that I liked it. I thought it was pretty fun, but I did like the first one a lot. I really loved the first one, and compared to the first one, to me, it was a bit disappointing. Oh, excuse me, a bit disappointing.
Yeah. Well, we could definitely unravel that one, but
One
moving
day.
on to the next one. What is your number 6?
Did you already do your number 7? Did I get
Yeah,
so involved
Agents of
with myself?
Shield.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. All right. My number 6 is kind of a little bit different from my other ones. It is
Uh huh.
House.
Okay. That's a fun one.
I love House. I love House so much. I love the character. He is just such a crappy person, but it's like he's not really being like a crappy person. He's just honest.
No, he is. No, he
But
is.
yeah, I mean, I get it, but in all realities, he's just being honest about things. And yeah, there are instances where he does go out of his way to be just a horrible person.
Yeah,
But
especially when he was trying to get his drugs and they wouldn't give it to
oh, like
him.
drug addiction is a rough thing. It's a rough
They
thing.
even locked him up in a mental institution at one
That
point.
was one of my favorite episodes or my favorite seasons. I love that season. It's got the guy,
And they
his
still needed his help.
yes, and his buddy, Manuel, what's his name? The guy that did Hamlet. He blew up.
Uh,
He played like a character that was like his buddy in the insane asylum, and that guy, Emmanuel something, I can't remember his name, but
uh,
he was phenomenal. He was great. Great season. Great show overall.
yeah, that is a fun one.
It did have a different dynamic when they kind of changed up the team, but then they ultimately bring back the original guys that started the show, and
Yeah,
it all just kind of worked out really well. And the way they ended it, I don't want to give out like spoilers in case people haven't watched it, but I'm sure it
yeah.
doesn't matter
Well,
too
let's
much.
not spoil. Just kind of like a
Yes,
general.
yeah. But the end, like the very last episode, the way they kind of end it is just phenomenal. I loved it. I couldn't have been happier with it. There's some shows, the ending of it, I'm like, oh, this isn't very good. But that one, I
Yeah.
love just about every single episode.
Good. All right. Well, my number 6 is Z Nation.
Really, you like that show?
I like that show. It is beyond ridiculous with what's going on with like a zombie type of show.
Yeah.
And they keep making it fresh with a different type of zombie popping up or some kind of like world ending event that they have to try and survive. It
I,
just keeps getting more over the top and more ridiculous. That show was just like a guilty pleasure of zombie and then over the top.
I wanted to like it. I really, really did. Because my wife, she's the one that wanted to watch it. We started watching it together. I think she watched all of it,
Yeah.
but I could not get into it. I don't know why. There was something about it
You
that
had
it
to get
just
past the first season. That's what had to happen.
that might have been what it was. I don't even think I finished the first season, to be honest. I think it got to a point to where she just kind of was like, oh, well, I watched an episode, and I'm like, yeah, that's fine. We can watch the next one. And I just kind of was probably messing around on my phone at that point. But
Yeah.
I mean, I really, really wanted to like it, but they're
It
just
is good. But like in the beginning, everyone just keeps dying. So it's like, who the heck is going to be actually in charge of this show? Until it
who
like settles down. And then it's like, oh, okay. So these are going to be the characters.
no, I see what you're saying. See, I don't even remember the first season, and I know I watched most of it.
Yeah.
I'm
All
a,
right.
what is it?
Well, I was going to
5?
say, what is your number 5?
Okay, so I did originally have something different. I originally had Resident Alien, but I did take that out last minute.
Okay. Okay.
and I put Black Mirror.
Okay.
I absolutely love Black Mirror. I
So that's the
love,
one that changes?
yeah, every
No.
episode is a different story. And it's usually like technology driven, like the, what's the word? Kind of like the bad side of technology.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like the show, the name Black Mirror is based on like if you turn your TV off, you can see it's like a mirror, but it's black.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like based with technology. I mean, like the first episode where they kidnap this politician's daughter and force him to do just some sick, demented stuff on live television, or else they're going to kill his daughter, type of thing.
Yeah.
And that's just the first episode. And every single episode is along that lines where it's just, it's kind of like, it's so twisted to a point and you don't really like, you don't know at first, but once you get there, you just like what are they doing? One of the newer
Hmm.
seasons, there was an episode with Josh Hartnett. I can't remember what it was, but it's basically like these two guys on like another planet or like a space station or something like that. And they could go back to Earth using like an avatar and like spend time with their family. And one of the guys, something happens to his avatar or something, he can't use it anymore. So Josh Hartnett allows him to use his avatar so he, doesn't lose his mind being stuck on this like space station or planet. And it hits the wall from there. And you're just like, so many episodes of that show, my jaw is just on the floor. And I'm just like, I cannot believe somebody thought about that, wrote it, let alone somebody allowed it to be on television. It was just, some of the stories were so just walking a fine line of like, I want to say inappropriate,
Yeah.
but that's not the word I'm looking for. But multiple episodes of that show that just blew me away by the end of it. And it kept me guessing the whole time, the entire time. I'm trying to unravel it. I'm trying to peel the layers one by one and figure it out. And I never once got close at all to figuring out what they were trying to do. And then when they kind of gave you the story, I'm like, holy crap, I would not have thought, let alone Netflix did it, but still, I would have never thought to ever see that on any kind of platform. It's a fantastic show. I love it.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. My number five is an old classic. I still watch it nowadays occasionally, and it's just brings a smile to my face. Gilligan's Island.
I'm, yeah, I've seen a lot of episodes. I've definitely not seen them all, but
One of my favorite episodes, and I remember watching this episode as a kid, and it's like radioactive vegetables, and it gave them enhanced abilities when they grew these plants. And it's like somebody, let's say, is like I think it was Marianne grew carrots, and it gave her enhanced eyesight. And Gilligan loves spinach, so he got like super strong. Everyone had like their like super enhancement that they got. But the like twist on the episode was, oh well, the radioactive stuff would kill you if you didn't get it out of your system. So they're like all freaking out with these superpowers.
yeah,
It's
definitely.
so good.
I don't think I've seen that one, but it does sound kind of funny.
It's one of my favorite.
Gilligan, who was that guy? Like, wasn't he like a huge
Oh,
star back then?
yeah, he was a pretty big actor. Well, they all were kind of. They had their own different like shows and movies that they were in.
Yeah, I do remember him. Like I can see his face. And even was it the skipper? I know he was kind of a big deal back then too, I think, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
What is your number four?
So number four is a really, really great show that everybody knows about, Breaking Bad.
Okay.
So did you ever watch that one?
Nope.
No? Oh, dude, it is phenomenal. Like
What
Brian,
what drew you in to want to watch that?
trying to think because okay, so I can recall it maybe it went like a season or two, right? And people were just freaking out about it. They were losing their minds saying how great it was. And because of that, I refused to watch it. I was like, I'm not watching that. Like, come on, like that's enough. Like I'm tired of hearing about it.
Okay.
Then the last season came out. It was actually running. Like it wasn't over. It had just started. And I think I got to a point where I was like, you know what? I'm going to check out the first episode. Like, get over the fact that you're just tired of hearing about it and just take a look, check it out.
Just watch it. Just watch it.
Yeah. And then I
Okay.
watched the first episode, and you find out it's about a chemistry teacher that's basically dying of cancer. So he starts making meth so he can take care of his family after he dies.
Yeah.
And it's like they did a really good job at like kind of that inner turmoil of him like breaking the law, but it's like this is the only way I can take care of my family. This is the best way with the little bit of time I have left. And the evolution or de-evolution of that character over time is just mind-boggling. The things that he turns into like a total villain, but you still are rooting for him somehow. And he's just a
Hmm.
horrible person by the end of it. The things has done is just unimaginable, but somehow you still kind of root for him because you still feel for him in the story. Like he is dying of cancer and he just wants to take care of his family. And I mean, I think almost everybody puts their family above all else. So it's like, how far would you go type of scenario? And he really goes really, really far.
Yeah.
You should definitely check
Well,
it out.
I don't know. I've heard lots of things about it, but I feel like maybe that ship is past of wanting to watch it.
I mean, if it hasn't been spoiled for you, if you've been able to kind of avoid everything,
Yeah.
I think it's worth it, man. Like at least the first few episodes and see if it catches you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. Well, my number four is another pretty popular TV show, The Office,
Which version?
US.
Boo.
So I enjoy the nonsense of pranking Dwight, the day to day of what's going on, then Michael Scott sticking his foot in his mouth, and then Meredith setting something on fire or something random. It's just it's just a fun show. And it has like multiple stories going on with different character development. And there's like actual location movements for some of the characters, and they're still able to be part of the show. But now they're at a different branch, and now they're all back together. It's just a fun dynamic.
I definitely liked the American version, and I didn't know was it British version. I didn't know there was another version until the American one. I think I watched a few seasons, but the British version, just the dry humor of it,
Yeah.
to me is hilarious. Like I know a lot of people aren't really into dry humor in general, but the way they did it was even like a step further. Like it was almost like they were trying not to be funny. But to me, for some odd reason, I like the British version better, and I'm a huge fan of Ricky Gervais to begin with,
Yeah.
and I think he was amazing. I do like Steve Carell's version, but I like the original one better, and I think Ricky Gervais did it better.
Okay.
Not a bad show though.
Well, yeah, I'm glad you have your opinion that's wrong, but I'm glad you
Whoa,
have it.
whoa, whoa. I mean, I was trying to politely kind of
That's all right.
say you were wrong, but I guess I won't hold back next time.
Yeah, well, there's only one of us that can be right.
Me.
What is your number three?
Okay, so my top three are pretty much straight comedies. And
Okay.
st- my number two and three aren't necessarily in order, but number one is number one. So number three is Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Okay.
Did you ever watch that one at all?
Yeah, I watched a couple episodes, and it
I'm a
is funny.
yeah, I'm a big Sandberg fan.
Okay.
And I've got to be honest, there's like an ongoing joke about how much he loves Die Hard. And there's a lot of stuff in that like that kind of just hits the right chord for me. And Holt, the guy that played Holt, his captain,
Yeah.
uh, I mean, it's sad. He passed away, I think, last year, maybe even, yeah, I think it was sometime last year.
Yeah.
And he is phenomenal. He plays this like super serious, like just super serious character, and then he kind of starts to loosen up and kind of gets into that comedy world because I mean you have all these police officers and it's kind of like things get kind of turned into a joke and he's like super serious, and when he tries to joke around it's even funnier. Like there's so many clips I see of his character that just make me just nonstop laugh, just laugh so hard that I'm gonna pee myself. Like he's phenomenal in in that show. It's just great, and all the characters are great. And when you just kind of put them all together in these certain ridiculous scenarios,
hmm
it's one of the funniest shows out there.
Yeah, I like the episodes that I watched, and it had some pretty good humor in it. I just didn't really get like hooked into wanting to watch more type of thing.
I know a lot of people that don't really like Andy Samberg's humor that much, and I get it. It could be kind of childish a little bit, I guess. Like
Yeah.
have you seen Hot Rod?
Can't remember.
The movie where Sandberg is a stuntman and he's trying to raise money to get his stepdad an operation, I think a new heart.
Yes, I remember.
Oh, like that movie is so ridiculously childish, but it is hilarious because it's almost like nobody would act like that. But I feel like I know people that are kind of like that stupid, so it's
Right.
believable. And
Yeah.
I love that movie. That's great. I'm a big, and Lonely Island, his little his band, I guess if you want to call it that. They're stupid,
Uh-huh.
but it's funny. Like it makes me laugh.
It's got your kind of humor, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. I hate to admit how childish I can be.
All right. Well, moving on from your childness. Uh, my number three is, I guess, a similar situation to your number 10. My wife drew me to it, and it's ridiculous how much I enjoyed watching it. It's Pride and Prejudice, 1995 BBC TV mini series.
Okay, so
Ooh,
they made a Pride and Prejudice series. You said it was in '95.
yes, 1995. It was I think it's 5 episodes, but they put so much production into it, and then kind of flushed out a lot of the characters, and then just the development of characters and their growth and meeting new people, and then how they treat them. It's just so good.
You said it was British.
Yeah, BBC.
Okay, yeah, I might have to check that out. I like British comedy. Is
Yeah,
like the book, right? Is it like based off the book, or is it just coincidence?
it's pretty much they try to take every like verbatim from the book and turn it into live action.
All right. I
And
know
it's
the
just
name. That's
so
about it.
good. So good.
Would you say it's more of a comedy or drama, or is it just kind of a little bit of everything?
It's it's definitely drama. It's definitely comedy. And it's kind of like self-reflection a little bit of how your attitude would be. Like, what character do you feel like you would resonate with?
So like something
And
for everybody type of thing when it comes to the characters.
yeah, yeah, a little bit.
Is there
So
any
what is
like
your what's that?
I was gonna say, is there any like big names in it that maybe I would know?
It's Colin Firth, the guy that did
I know that name, yeah.
what's the bucket? The gentleman, the one with the umbrellas.
Oh, I feel
And
like it's on the tip of my tongue, but I don't know.
I
I
have to
know the
look it
name
up
for sure. I definitely know the name.
and then I think her name was like Jennifer Eel, something like that.
Jessica Biel?
Jennifer,
So I know Jessica Biel, but I don't know Jessica or Jennifer Biel.
not Beale, Eel. It's like ELL, something like that.
So I don't know the name. I probably know her by her face though. But now my number two, right?
Your number two.
My number two is a newer show, still a bit old, probably like 2010, 2015. In between that time is Superstore.
Superstore. Okay.
You ever see that one? It's America Fiera. It's Ugly Betty. That's what she was kind of known for before. And the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. I think she was in that too. But
Okay.
it's essentially like think about The Office if it took place at a Walmart.
Yeah, I think you were telling me about this one that you liked it.
I love it. Like it's one of those shows where like if you watch every episode, there is a continuing story, but you can watch any random episode and still really enjoy it. Like you don't have to know the entire story from like episode season 1, episode 1 to the very last one. Like you can catch random episodes and still thoroughly enjoy it. It's got the guy that plays like the boss, he plays Glenn. He's from Kids in the Hall. I don't know what his name is, but I can see his face.
Okay.
And it also had a guy from Rooster Teeth. You remember Rooster Teeth, don't you?
Yeah, yeah.
He was I don't remember his name either. But anyways, like it's just a really really funny show. Like there's
Okay.
you know some love story type of stuff and things like that in it, but they still are able to tell that love story with a lot of comedy. So it
So
doesn't.
that's the like premise of the story is mostly a comedy.
Oh, it's definitely a comedy. It's 100% a comedy. Like slapstick, just over the top ridiculousness. And each character in that show is just hilarious. Like could sit here and say like, oh, this is my favorite character, but then 5 minutes from now, I'll be like, oh no, it's this because of this, because I remember something that happened. Like every character is just every character is phenomenal, and you could literally make each episode about just one specific character,
Hmm.
and it's going to be just as funny as the next. It's
Okay.
one of the funniest shows out there. Is definitely like The Office in a Walmart for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, my number two, but before that, the actor's name is Colin Firth, and he was in The Kingsman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do remember
Uh,
that. Good movie. Good movie.
yeah. So my number two is called Downtown, and it's a Japanese variety show.
Okay.
I would watch this all the time. They had like a New Year's special where it would be called a Batsu game, a 24-hour no laughing challenge, and anytime they laugh, they would get smacked. They would just get hit with this like bat across their bum. It's just ridiculous.
Kind
There
of
was
like
like,
a most extreme elimination challenge in a way.
uh, kind of. MXC was just kind of like the what's that castle called? I can't even remember the castle now. But they would do different things. So there'd be like take ingredients and remake how to do, for example, like spaghetti. And one of them would take the ingredients and change it to a ramen, or they would change it to instead of pasta sauce, it was like grinded up sardines or something random like that. So it was just a really funny, ridiculous TV show that amazing.
Like what I've seen with the clip of like one of those shows where it's like they had the bug inside a tube and the other person's trying to blow it in the other person's mouth.
Something similar, yeah.
Oh,
They
it's like a
also
giant
did
cockroach.
the
Yeah.
silent library where they have to be
Oh,
quiet
okay.
in a library or they get smacked.
Yeah. That it the MTV version, like that whole thing, like it's a good concept, but man, they really just made it like the people on that show was just it's just so over the top and unbelievable to where it's like I think this is all staged, like they're told what to do. It just felt fake, but the idea, the premise is good.
You mean MXC?
No, no, no. There was you know they had a show on MTV called Silent Library.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah, a
that.
lot of people tried to take that concept and run with it, but
Yeah, the MTV version was not good. It's like
okay.
it's just very unbelievable. It just felt very
Yeah.
scripted. Like people don't act like that. Like people aren't like this, and it just I don't
Right.
know. But you know, it's MTV.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what is your numero uno?
So my number one is not only
Don't
one of the funny. Don't nope. You already know
don't
what
be
it
bright
is.
and cheery. Don't be bright and cheery.
What do you mean?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
My number one is the funniest show that I've ever seen in my
Oh boy.
life.
Oh boy.
It is phenomenal. Everybody should watch it. It's
I've never seen
always
it.
it's always sunny in Philadelphia, and I will force you to watch it
I
eventually.
have never seen it.
It's just imagine. So right now
Uh
in your
huh.
head, I want you to think
Yep.
about the most horrible person you've ever met in your life.
Uh
They're
huh.
they're just like straight they're just a straight garbage person.
Yeah.
This show is about a group of friends that are just the worst individuals that have ever been on this planet.
Uh huh.
And they put themselves in these scenarios, and it's like, think of the most unbelievable thing that could happen, or like the
Uh
one
huh.
thing that no one would ever do. They do it. But the thing is, it's like they don't know that they're horrible people. It's like they're not trying to be horrible people. They just are. And it's almost like they rationalize things to themselves. Like one of my favorite characters on that show, it gets to a point to where they basically insinuate that he's a serial killer. And
Hmm.
they lean into it, but it is so funny the way they do it. It's just Danny DeVito is hilarious. I've never really liked him, but he's phenomenal in this show. Glenn Howerton, uh, Charlie Day. I love Charlie Day. He's amazing. Just everything. Everybody needs to watch this show. If you haven't watched this show, you're severely missing out. Like, just it's phenomenal. One of the best shows out there. And it's
Okay.
also one of the longest running live action comedies. It's like season, I think they're renewed up to like 18, but 17 I
Hmm.
believe is the next season that's coming out, and I can't wait. I cannot wait. And I have to give credit to my sister and my brother-in-law because I heard about
Hmm.
the show for years. And about season 4, like my sister, they had been watching it, and she just kind of said something to me about it and was like, "Oh yeah, you should watch it." And I'm like, "Yeah, I've heard about it. Maybe I'll check it out." I watched one episode, and the episode was it was an odd episode, so it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And so I was like, "Nah, I'm good." And she's just like, "Oh, I can't believe you don't like it. Like, are you sure? Like, just try it again. Try it again." And then I went ahead and watched the very first episode, and it instantly hooked me. And I binged it all the way up to the season. I think it was season 5 was getting ready to come out, and I've just been, I mean, the second that's like one of the happiest times for me every year is when they announce when it's coming out. And I'm like, "Oh yay, this day." And it's a big memory for my family, my sister, my brother-in-law. Like, I'd visit them out in California. They're back in the state of Ohio now, so that's good. But you know I have fond memories of, like, watching the premiere episode with my sister and my brother-in-law, and they love it. I love it just as much, and we continuously quote it nonstop all the time. And like we'll do it in front of people, and like we'll just burst into laughter, and everyone thinks we're lunatics. They think we're crazy.
You
Like they have no
you
clue.
get the looks. You get the
Yes.
looks, huh?
We have my cousin Annie, like we'll do it around her, and she's just like, "Let me guess, it's always sunny." And we're just like, "Yep, like of course. Come on. Like you need to watch it. Where you been? Come on. Get on board."
All right. Well, moving on to my number one, and it was a difficult pick. I had Monk, Psych, Columbo, Poirot to choose from.
Psych is a
Uh,
great one. I didn't even think about that, but Psych is fantastic.
but I went with Sherlock Holmes, Jeremy Brent.
Jeremy Brent.
Yes,
I know there's a lot of Sherlock Holmes shows.
there is. But the Jeremy Brent version is amazing. He said, that is Sherlock Holmes for me. It does this whole like arc. It has Moriarty in it. It has this like problem with drug addiction. It has Watson, and Watson does his thing as a medical doctor. It's just awesome, awesome show.
I don't think I've ever seen any of them, to be honest with you.
Well, if you want to start with one, Sherlock Holmes, the Jeremy Brent version is amazing. I'd recommend starting with that. Go to Poirot next. The Agatha Christie Poirot. Then go to Columbo. Then go to Monk, and then go to Psych.
Now, I've seen Psych. I've seen a lot of Psych. I don't know if
Psych
I've
is a
seen
fun
all
show.
of it. It's really good.
Yeah.
The dynamic between the main guy, what's his name? What's the main character's name?
Sean and Gus.
Sean and Gus is phenomenal. Like
Yeah.
they are like I don't know who I like more, Sean or Gus. Like they're both just fantastic.
Both of them plus the dad.
That
It's a good
Branson,
show.
right? With Charles Bronson, I think is the guy that plays the dad, if I'm not mistaken.
I can't remember his name.
No, I'm totally wrong. Yeah, I feel like I'm totally wrong. As I said it, I'm like, wait a minute, that's not right. But I could see his face. Yeah, like that's a great show. I'm kind of sad that I didn't think about that because that probably should have been slid in that list. It's a great show.
So this is our top 10 lists. There isn't gonna be like we're gonna do a top 100. So we had to drop some of our other favorite TV shows out.
Yeah, but I wanted to
It's
get all
just
the important ones.
yeah, that's all we were kind of doing is we got to get like the Reader's Digest versions of which ones we like the best.
Give everybody a vibe for who we are and what we watch.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's why I kind of had to slide sliders in there, haha, because that's a great show, and plus, I don't think a lot of people know about it. I feel like it wasn't really given it to do type of thing. And even Fringe, I'm kind of surprised you haven't heard of Fringe. It's a great one, man. And it's pretty on the sci-fi level, kind of sci-fi realm. I figured you would have heard about it, or if
Yeah,
not, seen it.
I'm pretty sure I have heard of it, but I haven't watched it.
You should. It's good. It's great. But
So, which one are we doing next? Cartoon anime or video games?
I don't know a lot of anime. I'd say we go with just animated shows in general.
Well,
Because
cartoon slash anime.
okay, yeah, because I definitely know of one anime that would definitely be on that list, but I'd really have to think about others because I haven't watched a lot.
Okay, that'll work.
But yeah, we can do that one next. That sounds good.
Perfect. All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening and watching. It's always good to see you. Until next time. See ya.
Bye.